When you're just starting using Make, built-in module can be confusing. This video will give you all you need to know to master the JSON module, so create better automations. We will see what is a JSON, how to choose the right JSON module to use with examples and use cases, and what is the input and output of each module. Let's start with the first question. What is a JSON? A JSON is a structured data in a text format where you will be able to store a value that could be understood by your computer or software. Let's take this JSON as an example. You can see here that in this JSON we have three properties. We have name, John, age 30, and car null. Each property is separated with a comma. The first value of each property is the name of the property. So here it's name, age, and car. So this is basically in a database the title of each column. And the second value of each property is the value. So it's John, so this is the name, 30, this is the age, and null, this is how many cars he have. I think this is what it means here. So in a database, it will be represented like this. The first value are the title of column, and the second values are the values. Now let's see how each model is working. The first one we will see is aggregate to JSON. To understand it, I've created a small database that we will use, where the first column is name, so name 1, name 2, name 3, description, D1, D2, D3, and a created time column. So the trigger we will use here is watch record table. So we select this base, the trigger field is created time, and you click OK. Let's run this just to see what the output is. So for each line is in the database, you will have one bundle that is created. So bundle 1, name 1, D1, bundle 2 and 3, D3, bundle 3 and 2, D2. Let's say we want, instead of having multiple bundles, like one bundle for each line, we want to have it as a single bundle. We'll see later in which use case it could be helpful. But let's say right now we only want to concatenate it in only one bundle. To do so, we will use the aggregate to JSON module. As you can see, we need two inputs. The first one is the source module. So this is this module, where the output of the module is multiple bundles. So this is the first input, multiple bundles. And the second element is a data structure. So this is basically how the data will be structured for each element, so for each bundle. So I've created one, it's named test. Let's see how it looks like. So the first element is name. It's a text value, it's required. And the second is description. So this is basically what we have here in the database. We don't need the created time value. I've created it only because we needed to trigger the automation. So we enter the name from the database and the description from the database. Let's run this now. As we've said before, the input of this automation was one bundle for each pair of value, bundle 1, N1, D1, bundle 2, and 3, D3, etc. And the output is a single bundle where we stored every pair of value that we had here. So now let's go back on this document and look at this. So the input was multiple bundle of data. It could be from Airtable, Excel, Postgres, MySQL, etc. So a database mainly, and a data structure. So this was this. The module is aggregate to JSON, and the output is an array, so a list of JSON, as we've seen here. So we have, so this means that this is a list, and we have multiple JSON So one JSON per pair of value. One use case for this model is, for example, to create a knowledge base for an LLM, so Mistral, Claude, ChatGPT, that you include in your prompt so it can create what you want based on specific data. For example, on a previous video, I was trying to create packaging for YouTube videos, so title and thumbnail. And for the title, I wanted that the LLM could be inspired by title that worked in the past for other creator. In this case, instead of having only one bundle, so only one title in your prompt, you can have a database of titles. So this is where it could be interesting in my opinion. Now let's see what parse.json model is doing. Basically, parse.json is the inverse of aggregate to JSON. So we've seen that aggregate to JSON transform multiple bundles into one, and parse.json is basically the inverse. So let's see, if we add parse.json here, we should have the input of aggregate to JSON module, so multiple bundle for each pair of values. So let's click here. So the input for the parse.json module is a data structure. So we use the same one because this is the same data structure. And the other input is a JSON string. So here we will use the output of the previous module. That was basically a JSON string. Let's run this to see what we have. So it's literally the inverse of this module. The input here of one bundle is the output here, and the output of parse.json module, that is multiple bundle, is the input here. So let's go back here. The input is a list of JSON and the data structure of the output bundles. So like this. So for one bundle, you have name and description, and the data structure was name and description. The output is multiple bundles of data. So as we've seen here, we have multiple bundles of data. And one use case for this is, for example, when you manipulate data as a JSON and you want to split it into different variables that you can use later in your automation. So basically, just to explain it a little bit more, let's say you have this. So you manipulate data as a JSON. The problem with this is that you cannot really use it in other models. Like for example, let's say I'm creating a narratable model, create a record. Base was entitled table 1. Let's say I wanted to use it here. So this is the parse.json module. So let's say we don't have this. We only have this. The problem is we cannot access this value, n2, d2, n3, d3. So if I copy this here, we will have in a new row all of the JSON string in a single row. And it's basically impossible to use in the automation later. And that's why it's interesting to separate this JSON in single variables. The next module is create JSON. So here, the input of this module is one or many bundles of data and the data structure of the output JSON. And the output of the module is one or many JSON string. So let's see here. So basically, this is doing the same thing as aggregate to JSON module, but to convert each bundle to only one JSON, not a list of JSON. So the input will be, as I said, multiple bundles that will be one by one converted by a JSON. So for a bundle, you have a JSON. So let's look at this. So as you can see, you have multiple operation here. So it's not like aggregate to JSON where you had only one operation. Here you have as many operation as the number of bundle you have. So one operation, you have bundle one that you convert into a single JSON. Operation two, one bundle into one JSON, and operation three, one bundle into a JSON. And the last module is convert JSON to XML. So you have a JSON string that basically converted into XML. That is another type of structured data. So basically here you have bundle one, you have a JSON string, and it is converted to XML. That's just a classic converter. Normally you will not use it because it's really used for specific use cases, but I just included it here because it's a JSON model. If you like this, I've made another detailed video on 7 automation to simplify your content creation process. Thank you for watching.